What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Thunderboy29 here, and yep, I am back today with another video. And today, we are going to be ranking every season in Chapter 2 from worst to best. I did a video like this in the past, but since now we have Chapter 2 Season 7, now I feel like we should do an updated version of what season do I think is better from worst to best. So anyways, let's get started. Number 7, Chapter 2, Season 6. This is definitely not a surprise to some, but my decision still stands that this was definitely the worst season ever in the history of Fortnite. The Battle Pass was awful, the map was boring as hell, and all they did was re-edit every single location that we had gotten in the previous season in the desert area, just replaced by a bunch of orange crap. So all they did was change the locations up that we had just gotten from the previous season. The primal and makeshift weapons were terrible. The accuracy of the AR was so bad. The gun balancing was so bad. They took out sniper rifles. I mean, how can you have a battle royale game without snipers in it? That basically took the fun out of the whole game just by taking the snipers out. And they added animals and crafting mechanics into their game, which kind of makes the season like a rip-off version of Minecraft. If you would like to hear the rest of my opinions, you can watch my previous videos that I have made talking about this season. But overall, this is still the worst season ever. Number 6, Chapter 2, Season 4. Not a surprise to some. As a lot of you know, I am not a fan of crossovers. And this season had a lot of overpowered and underpowered meta in Fortnite. And this is not what the player base likes or wanted in the first place. The boss weapons scattered all over the map, like I've mentioned, Wolverine claws, Iron Man's laser, and several other weapons located all around the map. This really pissed off a lot of players, and it was really annoying. And the Fortnitemares event was a huge disaster. I mean, why couldn't they do the same thing, Storm King, like they did that previous year back in Chapter 2 Season 1? Instead of having people spawn in as ghosts with Wolverine claws. That was a rip-off version of Apex Legends idea back in 2019. This season was basically just an entire advertisement for Marvel, and the rest of my opinions still stand. Number 5, Chapter 2, Season 3. Most of my opinions still stand when it comes to this season because the map was extremely boring. I mean, at the beginning of the season, the map was completely underwater, and that was really, really boring. And I will admit, this is probably one of the only few crossover events I really like, and that was when they did the shark event with Discovery Channel. I will give them that was a very, very cool event. But the main reason why I put this season under Chapter 2 Season 7 and Chapter 2 Season 5, like I said before, because of the BLM fiasco that they did on that 4th of July last year. Before I get called racist and stuff, I'm going to say Black lives do matter. But how they did it, they didn't do it in a good way. They did it in a way to piss off players. Because you aren't just saying Black Lives Matter, you're shoving a political agenda down kids' throats. Like, leave that stuff out of the game. And like I've said many times, video games' purpose is to get our minds off that kind of stuff. If you want to hear about BLM, watch CNN or Fox News. Not in Fortnite. And last but not least, this season was also the beginning of the shotgun flip-flopping. Which I mean by that is either taking the pump or the tac shotgun in the game or out of the game. And this is just an endless cycle that continued on 2 seasons afterwards. Number 4, Chapter 2, Season 1. I did think it through and I decided to lower it down on the list and give it a more fair rank instead of putting it number 2. The main reason why I decided to put it in the middle instead of at the very bottom of the list, it was because this was the only season in Chapter 2 that did not have one single crossover in the Battle Pass. I would put it back in the number 2 spot if this season was not the longest season in Fortnite's history and if they had more updates to it. But I will admit, it was fun at first, but then after a couple weeks, the season just got boring because of the lack of updates. It was just sad that they couldn't really do anything more with the season. Number 3, Chapter 2, Season 5. I did bump it up one because I will admit, it was nice that they brought in a couple OG locations. The locations in the map were interesting. They did do a really good job with the locations, and they had some very good weapons in that season as well. You had a pistol, and you had sniper rifles as well. But one thing that would have made the season better is if they had launch pads. What really made the season so bad was the amount of crossovers that they had used in the season. I get it's part of the storyline, but don't get me wrong, you don't need 20 crossovers just to make a perfect storyline. Like, back in the day, they didn't use that many crossovers, and they still had a perfect storyline. And they used a lot of TikTok emotes with copyrighted songs. I couldn't really make a rant on that because my videos would get copyright striked. Even though I was not a huge fan of the desert because of the campers in the sand, but at least the map wasn't underwater, and at least it wasn't full of orange crap like Season 6. But like I've said before, the season is not that bad, but it's not all that good either. Number 2, Chapter 2, Season 7. A lot of you are probably shocked by this. Even though I'm not a huge fan of this season, I will admit they did a lot of things that really need to be done that they had not done in the previous seasons before. They had finally brought back launch pads, and they had brought back snipers, and it finally ended the shotgun flip-flopping, which means now both the tac and the pump are in the game together for the first time since Chapter 2 Season 2. But in my opinion, the reason why this is not the best season in Chapter 2 Season 7 was because of the railgun and the UFOs. Oh, wait a second. What was that? Oh, well, I'll be damned. Because they had nerfed the UFOs and they had taken it out of Arena. But if the railgun and the UFOs were never in the game in the first place, or if they were taken out of the game, this season would definitely be competitive to Chapter 2 Season 2. But like I've said before, anything could happen, but as of right now, all we can just do is wait and see. And number 1, Chapter 2 Season 2. Y'all know where this was going. My opinion still stands that this was the best season in Chapter 2 Season 2. The helicopters, the launch pads, the locations, and the items is what made Chapter 2 Season 2 the best season in all of Chapter 2. Even though this season had the IO guards for the first time, they actually at least worked. Unlike all these other seasons where they just randomly put in IO guards when it doesn't make any sense. Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. What do you think of my list? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content. You all are the best as we now begin to close in on 2,600 subscribers. Thank you all so much for all this love and support. And I can never ever thank y'all enough. And this is Thunderbite29, sign off.